We are about 10 minutes early. We were to start at 6, and we would start with just an introduction on how this idea of liquid workshop. As I see in the program, avenues for revenue. This is one of the program, probably is at 8 o'clock in the evening today. Bansi Sahu is going to talk on building practice, strategies and ideas. So this may sound as something, an extension to that. In a diabetes conference, and in the country there are so many diabetes clinics opening, practically none in the area of lipid. Too many CNEs and conferences on diabetes, but you hardly hear of lipid conference. So I'm not sure how scientific committee got an idea too. Probably 20 years back, I had spoken to Dr. Neeta Deshpande, who designed this scientific program. Why not, as a young consultant, consider opening a lipid clinic? And I probably recall my thinking that at that time I had a research mentor, Dr. Ashok Bhatia, great clinical pharmacologist, reverse pharmacologist, who spent time and life with Siva Rai. And he had returned from Yale University, and he was running a hypertension clinic in Yale. He did a PhD in biogenic amines, and he carried out all kinds of tests in patients, and he narrated how they worked. He used to see about 5 patients in the whole day, and patient would be subjected to extensive workup all along, and then that kind of investigation would generate a lot of ideas, a lot of research papers. Complete care will not miss any kind of diagnosis, which probably in that clinic would have been secondary hypertension. With those kind of discussion with Dr. Neeta 20 years back, and then I have never spoken on the subject till now in 20 years. We speak on dyslipidemia, but not on a lipid clinic. And then I was requested to be a moderator. Looking at the program, that there were 3 talks in the evening after this on a lipid treatment. So I decided to have 3 different topics in this 1 hour between 6 and 7. And then I divided into 3 parts. After me, Dr. Anjali would speak on investigation, and then Dr. Ganapathi Bhatwal from St. John, Bangalore, endocrinologist, will speak on safety, tolerance, adherence, and patient education issues. So let's move on to thinking on these are some of my disclosure. Received speaker fees advisory, as we discussed earlier, research grant and a startup equity partner in M Health app company which manages diabetes, and I have few publications on that. So subject to be covered, and I could think of covering various areas. I have roughly 20 minutes. Why lipid management is necessary. Risk evaluation, laboratory investigation would be touched upon by apparently. Role of a lipid clinic. Education, rare disorders, actual care in reality, research and long-term benefit. So there are plenty of dimensions, and we'll try to touch what lipid clinic could offer. What is killing Indians? If we look at top 10 killer disease based on WHO statistics, majority come from cardiovascular disease, and as cardiovascular disease many times linked directly with the lipid abnormality as a possible mechanism for a cardiovascular disease, the intervention and treatment would apply in that direction. This is a list of some of the publications on epidemiology, and this is 2017 Indian Heart Journal publication, where Indian population, many are ICMR studies carried out from 2006 to 2014, show you here that prevalence anywhere is roughly from minimum is 10-13% to highest of 32%. So based on different population size, at least in adults, we could say that we have roughly 20-25% of people having a lipid disorder. So it's no less than a diabetes. Only thing it is silent and it is being treated by everybody, like diabetes is treated by everybody. There is lack of detailed information about the pattern of dyslipidemia and what exactly happens. Some of the studies I will try to show you. This is Dr. Salim Yusuf's paper, Inter-Heart study, and it looked at what is an attributable risk factor. He tried to look at for MI and lipid very much is important in myocardial infarction. On the other side, if you look at 2014 recommendation to prevent or reverse a cardiovascular disease, you have to be doing many more things in which lipid management is one of that, but you have to be looking holistically and intervene at every possible risk factor which might have a small contribution. We know that glucose disorder or diabetes has roughly 16% contribution in cardiovascular disease, but in diabetes, still we are not doing so well when it comes to a lipid target. Reducing cholesterol would benefit most, and as you can see here, cholesterol reduction down by 0.6 millimole, which roughly translates into 25 milligram, will reduce the relative risk of cardiovascular event as well as 2-year event rate would be the highest what you could achieve by intervening a single risk factor. If we look at American College of Cardiology guideline, which expands to cover a large majority of disease, stroke, peripheral artery disease, and 10-year risk scoring based on Framingham study, more than 20%, and now extension into ASCVD risk scoring. It includes almost 60 million Americans getting covered for lipid therapy. And so we would have similarly larger population in our country who would qualify to treat it. On the other side, in previous 2 decades, we have seen very impressive data on various statin trials we have all passed through, and we now practice statin quite extensively. And they have shown impressive results in different guidelines, and this would be taken up in next 1 hour, subsequently between 7 and 8. 3 great speakers who will cover different dimensions of treatment. This is just trying to highlight the importance of lipid in a Steno trial, and this was done in Denmark, and it shows that though it is multifactorial intervention necessary, but lipid contributed maximum in comparison to hypertension and diabetes. So coming to a lipid clinic per se, in adult population, diabetes would be roughly estimated at approximately 10% in our country. Dyslipidemia might probably go higher into 20% of adult, and hypertension would be probably much more. If we try to look at diabetes clinic, lipid clinic, or hypertension clinic, all three would have more or less identical issues of lifetime management, asymptomatic disorder, require some nutrition guidance, lifestyle management, polytherapy, multiple drugs in lipid, in diabetes, as well as hypertension. So polytherapy is again long-term compliance are issues, long-term complications are there, people have comorbid conditions, and as there are more drugs, we become individualized in selecting the drug. We look at quality of life, and as Dr. Joshi earlier mentioned about selecting DPP4 versus SGLT2, all those issues come up even in lipid management. So what would lipid clinic look like? It's a specialized center for clinical assessment, investigations, management, follow-up, and education of patients with dyslipidemia. Lipid clinic brings together health professionals from different backgrounds, clinical, nutritional, psychosocial, and laboratory backgrounds, providing a multidisciplinary approach. And as it gets established, you have a lot of database. You would need statistician, IT people, and many more in relation to better management. Lipid clinic will also provide a special support to patients who are considered at high risk of cardiovascular disease, or who have already suffered or been diagnosed to have CV disease, because they will have a different goal, different targets, and they will require much more intensive therapy. Will you get the patient in a lipid clinic? You might get surprised that if you open a lipid clinic today, this is kind of course, the data from US, and this looks like, as I said, from Indian epidemiological prevalence data. Here also between men and women, 3 different disorders are different, but it is which is slightly easier in lipid compared to diabetes, where you wish to reach in people on an average risk of 100 milligram, high risk people 70, and now new endocrine guidelines recommend 55 milligram as a target for very, very high risk people. And there are similar targets based on LDL for non-HDL triglyceride we will touch, and Dr. Anjali will also touch on to that what should be a triglyceride target. This is one of the example of one of a lipid clinic which has kind of a flow chart here that need a doctor referral. Patient has come on a first visit. If patient has come fasting on that day, it is subjected to various blood tests, cardiogram, and maybe many more investigation based on the risk scoring would require to document any kind of evidence of atherosclerosis. On a subsequent visit, the test would be reviewed, a treatment plan will be charted out, and then the patient would meet probably a nutrition expert and a physician to take a prescription, and then based on the treatment and risk, a third follow-up visit would be designed. And this subsequently will continue as it is a chronic disorder, lifelong disorder, how patient would come back to the clinic, we'll touch upon that. But these are basic tests. I would not go into the details of the test, but many would need lipoprotein A, apolipoprotein, certain tests to rule out secondary causes, as well as investigation for comorbid condition, and also for complication due to lipid disorder. There is a special talk by Dr. Anjali, so she will expand on that. I call it a patient pathways. So once a lipid diagnosis has been established, adequate non-pharmacological therapies will be offered. If a patient you are subjecting any kind of a nutrition investigation, you would allow 3 to 6 months before jumping onto a therapy, and you might have an idea in 100 patients, 200 patients, particular nutrition intervention work or not, and then consider selecting the best optimal lipid lowering therapy. At the same time, as this would be run by a physician who might have similar expertise in managing hypertension or diabetes, would also like to manage comorbid condition, and maybe cardiovascular disease might require an expert help. Patient would also have kind of I call a pathway or a package program. Patient may be enrolled for 1 year care, 5 years care, or 10 years care, where you will work out a periodical follow-up investigation, periodical diet counseling, compliance, monitoring for side effects, as well as complication. What you do in a diabetes clinic, something similar, on similar thinking, you could do a long-term management of lipid in a lipid clinic. Moving further, extending lipid clinic into so-called nutrition guideline, exact calorie requirement, percentage fat restriction, details of saturated mono, poly, all will be required, sources of fat in diet, healthy and non-healthy. This will extend beyond into all patients who would like to know exactly everything about cooking oil, medium. In India, we are a little complex, so we need ghee, butter, cheese, margarine, all those in relation to diet would get discussed. There are a lot of healthy food which is emerging and people are trying to learn from Dr. Google. So will nutrition clinic, in a lipid clinic will have to have all this information authenticated, reliable, and maybe many which are evidence based. The method of education could be one-to-one as well as within the group, and there has to be a so-called evaluation at each visit point for patient coming back again and again to have some kind of additional literature and supply being offered and counseling offered. At the same time, it would be important in the current future that patients are connected through SMS, WhatsApp, or app-based or on email with technology to remain engaged in management of lipid disorder. So management questions, of course, statins are primary drug for lowering. Patient would ask, do I need a treatment? Many people feel that they do not need a treatment, so we need more counseling. You could show them various evidences of statin. Guideline related lecture would be delivered by Dr. Vivian Fonseca in some time. HDA would be delivered by Krishna Shashadri, and a newer therapy by Dr. Krishna. So these three lectures will follow in the treatment program. how to manage lifetime compliance and background of safety issues would be handled by Dr. Ganpati in some time. Moving further on to the subject, why would anybody refer a patient? Probably refer could come when a doctor is uncertain liquid medication is required or not, is right or not. Some patient do not achieve a target with a statin, so whether the dose to be increased or not. The last reference I received for the lipid was an asymptomatic patient who had an LDL of 180 on a 20 milligram rosuvastatin. We don't know whether the patient was doing right or wrong, taking tablet or not, diet was wrong, or there were some reasons. But in spite of 20 milligram rosuvastatin, LDL was 180. Some patients would need a screening for familial hypercholesterolemia or familial hypertriglyceridemia or some familial disorders. Is triglyceride important? We label lipid with cholesterol, and if you want to include the people into your lipid clinic and expand the population, you have metabolic syndrome, obesity, diabetes, all will qualify large majority with high TG and low HDL, and then they will also be part of a lipid intervention as the guidelines suggest, because treating with a statin does not eliminate the total cardiovascular risk, as you can see in PARD and SPA studies here, that there is a residual risk, and residual risk is a big subject. Dr. Anjali will also highlight there are 5 meta-analyses from 5 trials have shown that triglyceride treatment is necessary and is beneficial, reducing below 204. And I will come to that on another landmark paper a little later. Because high TG is associated with increased small LDL or lipogenic LDL fraction as TG level increases from 150 plus. So triglyceride is equally important, and many patients in India will qualify for triglyceride lowering drug, and there are 2 of them in Indian market. There will also be, we haven't moved, the literature has moved to a non-HDL calculation. To cover the triglyceride importance, we should start calculating as we are learning eGFR along with creatinine. Every report should have non-HDL calculated, and this shows the level of non-HDL and the degree of coronary block. And this is meta-analysis of 8 different trials which looked at that LDL was achieved goal at below 100, but non-HDL was not achieved, was associated with higher cardiovascular risk. So multiple trials have shown that non-HDL is far more important, and probably matches with information what you would get from lipoprotein B. The reasons why people don't do well: non-attainment of lipid flow, sedentary lifestyle and unhealthy fatty food. They are selling more, people are eating more, they are cheap, and there are various reasons. And I might recommend people to read a Leeds study on high fat diet consumption, which looks into the psychology of why people eat high fat food. And that was an interesting study carried out in UK. Suboptimal therapy. How common? You will not know how common it is, but I will try to show you a couple of slides on that. But the data is extensive that people are not well treated. Adverse effect, lack of LDL, quite significant. Lack of perception of knowledge or necessity of treatment. So lipid clinic will have to offer a lot of education, have frequent follow-up at a different time, maybe telephonic or kind of a reminder. Cost of treatment used to be high, probably we are moving into generics, and there is one more session which is coming up on so-called affordable care. So cost may not be high for many drugs. Physician not explaining the adequately role, benefit and risk of medication. What about Indian health setting? And I show you the summary of 3 different papers in a solid study. 5,000 plus diabetic patients. LDL was below target in 49%. So half of the patients were not at target. Diverse study which looked at non-diabetic 3,000 plus patients. Only 7% achieved goal of LDL below 70. This was high risk group who should have an LDL of 70, a pathetic number of just 10% or less, compared to 19% who are below 100 or between 70 and 90. This is another visit which looked at 1,000 patients, again diabetic, where there is 46%. A quality improvement project paper published from 12 different centers in our country, published in Annals of Medicine last September. September also showed that there are only 46% of patients are at lipid goal. There were only 15 or 20% who were comprehensively at ABC goal. So we are doing pretty bad on A control, but we are not as bad on C control. What about the discontinuation? With statin, discontinuation rate is at all year range from 15 to 60%. Different studies have different discontinuation rate, and this is quite high. You might get surprised. Canvas and Empiric CV outcome trial also had 80% patients receiving statin, 20% were not receiving statin or lipid lowering therapy for whatever reason, which is not mentioned in this. Prism study statin withdrawal in acute coronary syndrome, even in people who had ACS and post-ACS, it was quite necessary. Lipid clinic offering an education to whom? Healthcare professionals, patients, and community. What will they teach healthcare professionals? Establish an agreed protocol for local general practitioners, so there could be a extension arm with primary care physicians, and you will have patient investigated at your place. Partly you treat, offer consultation, intermittently treated for primary care physician on an agreed protocol. So having a GP or a family physician into a loop will improve our compliance. Before referral, secondary hyperlipidemia should be excluded. So that is an important message. Most patients should get subjected to hypothyroidism and renal investigations. Lipid clinic will also evaluate familial and other severe forms which are called rare disorders. This is EASD presentation, and you can look at international data. 64% eligible patients receive a statin prescription. That again does not necessarily mean that statin was taken. This is statin prescribed. Statins were less likely to be used in younger patients aged less than 50 years. And one-third of type 2 diabetic patients who are eligible for statin, based on a guideline, are not receiving the statin. This is pure study, 17 countries, 1,53,000 patients. A huge number. India was part of it and considered as a low-income country, having 28,000 patients. And you can see in patients with CHD, antiplatelet beta blocker, ACE and statin. This is statin in overall population in low-income countries, 3.3%. So 80% receive no drug. Again, a surprising finding, which is showing too low a rate of a statin prescription, but this is again Salim Yusuf's paper published in Lancet 2011, having multi-country epidemiological study. If you look at a CREATE registry carried out in India on acute coronary syndrome, and these are ACS patients, and all of them should receive a statin, and you would see that rich versus poor lipid lowering drug is prescribed much less in spite of an ACS. Role of a lipid education, clinic will have education on the side of a patient. Earlier I touched healthcare professional, now I refer to education to the patient. So our pros and cons of screen for hyperlipidemia, the clinic will have to offer education in community, carry out periodical camp, who should get subjected, like how we have a risk scoring for type 2 diabetes, we could have a risk scoring for hyperlipidemia. Merits and demerits of different diet, what kind of a treatment would be beneficial, selection of the right kind of a drug. And this clinic would eventually become as a role model or a resource center for any information on lipid disorder or management. Looking at improve the quality and value of healthcare through patient engagement. Why would patient take diabetes medication? Why would patient take antihypertensive or a lipid? And there are a lot of reasons why people will not look at it. Couple of months back, NEJM Catalyst carried out kind of an online program. This was a web event. This was the second event which I attended in April 2017. If you had registered, you would get whole document which was all the knowledge on psychology, habit formation, behavioral economics, social marketing, and benefit design. This is to change why patients would behave in favor of maintaining your health. So this is an interesting activity by New England Journal of Medicine under title Catalyst, and this will throw some light. You might read some of the articles on health affairs which is addressing chronic health management. So to highlight what was this patient engagement technology, so there are tools to encourage patients to be accountable for their own health, identify and curb the behavior that results in poor health, form a link between provider, patient, and third-party information, creating feedback loop, offering insights about the disease management, and building a support system. Lifetime disorder, chronic disorder, asymptomatic needs different kind of management. Ideally, a technology tools will fill up the gap between the visits. Visits are 3 months apart, 6 months apart in Indian setting. Patient tends to do wrong things between two visits. So how do you remain in touch? And that is called patient empowerment or a patient engagement. What are the tools? Which, as per any general catalyst, wireless scales and glucometer were the most frequently used. Of course, they will not be useful in lipid clinic, but as for smartphone, come in a second place 75%. Texting can be used for appointment, medication reminder, adherence in 70% of respondents and 77% of executives. Couple of months back, I published a paper on adherence in diabetes medication in telemedicine journal. In fact, tomorrow I am lecturing on how mobile phone can change outcome in diabetes management at Apollo Conference. And we have shown with a couple of papers, we have designed a couple of studies on how insulin could be titrated on app. There is an app which is approved by US FDA called My Dose Coach of Sanofi, which titrates basal insulin. Glargine is titrated by an app, the dose is selected by app based on a fasting glucose. That means app has taken over the role of doctor in adjusting the glargine dose. This is approved in the US and we are currently now initiating a trial in India using the same app, how it will fare in Indian patients. So, app is a solution and it is emerging very fast. Most of you must be using app for multiple things. Moving further into how do we optimize lipid lowering therapy. So, development, standardization, coordination, use of evidence-based local treatment guidelines. To improve adherence to standard therapy, how simply informing patient well through a good education program. Simplification of drug regime, which is like easing lipid compared to diabetes, and individual physician-patient dynamics. Lipids clinic is a solution for increased lipid control, better control, more awareness, more effective therapy. Is it really working? Do we have evidence? Yes. This is UK public health system, which has a paper which is published here, which shows before treatment and after treatment. Of course, this is a short term. I consider 1 year is reasonably a short term trial that it has worked. But I can show you another lipid clinic which is called cardiovascular risk reduction clinic. So this is still a better defined word and has comprehensive inclusion of many more things. But here patients were passed on to a primary care physician. So initially treated in a lipid clinic, primary care physician become partner and you have data for 10 years which shows lipid clinic management and lipid control was well maintained. So I presume that this paper on vascular health risk management journal could be highlighting more on compliance rather than anything smart done by a statin drug prescribed by all of us at that particular time. Referral center lipid clinic could be for some of the rare lipid disorder, and it is rightly called as orphan lipid disorder, not many people are looking into, and now we have PCSK9 inhibitor which will get covered in next talk. But this is SMASH system and molecular approach of severe hyperlipidemia, and some of the clinics are running with different names. They do all kind of genetic testing, and so those kind of investigation would be needed for small number of patients. Finally, ending into the last part of lipid clinic could have a long-term benefit. What? Database, epidemiological investigation, and registry. If you go into the history, Framingham did not have a large number. People might think that whole Boston population was covered. There were only 5,000 subjects. Only thing was a kind of follow-up, and Framingham generated 1,000 research papers. 1,000 research papers we used over 5 decades. How application of Framingham. It wasn't a nice thing. In UK population, prediction of a risk was too high by Framingham, which was not there in UK population. Most impressive was Copenhagen City Heart Study, which generated 750 publications. It's a registry of just 20,000 exclusive women on a long period, but it also had a support of 1 lakh people of Copenhagen general population followed up for 33 years. There are no data matching of 35 years, 1 lakh people, and it generated wealth of information. If you read just one 10-page paper, you will know what kind of information it generated on jogging and heart disease, non-fasting triglyceride and everything. Dallas Heart by Helen Box from Texas is well known, and we have now PCSK9 on that. Atherosclerosis research in community, ERIC study, we started long back, also generated close to 7 minutes a paper. This was a study designed to prevent atherosclerosis. So many of these things could be part and spin off from a lipid clinic done on a long-term basis. And currently, I am working on a million heart study, which is a new kind of a risk calculator modified from ESCVD, and I had a poster this year in American Annual Conference on million heart. Moving further, database and epidemiological investigation could generate well-designed prospective study, retrospective analysis of stored sample. It will authenticate clinical observation, nutritional intervention, treatment effect, comparison of various treatment, adherence, compliance, tolerance, discontinuation, and beyond that, molecular investigation as well as genetic investigation. So the list is pretty long, but many could be done. And this is the paper from Nordesgaard from Copenhagen City Heart Study, who had 6 different subgroups of triglyceride, and he very illustratively showed that every small increment in triglyceride increases cardiovascular disease. So this is from Copenhagen City Heart. Triglyceride increases risk by 3 to 5. So non-HDL is extremely important. And the same group from Copenhagen has shown in 75,000 participants over 34 years, a genetic mutation and a risk of ischemic heart disease. He has also a paper on non-fasting triglyceride. We already know about non-fasting cholesterol. Finally, this is need of the hour to develop standardized coordinate use of evidence-based treatment guideline. Use of intensive statin therapy and a combination therapy whenever required with good adherence, good education, and good dynamics with lifestyle model. Finally, I would end here, and story of lipid clinic will continue with Dr. Anjali and Dr. Prabhuti to address 2 more issues. And please read the first sentence. Thank you.